This is Brownie's Podcast!
Yes, welcome to Brownie's Podcast. Oh man, we've got so much to get to. An end of an era for the blackjack guy, Tim Nackey. We're going to try and call him. I was real flat when I saw it, but the footy over the weekend was insane.
You put a bullet in Nackey, have you?
Mate, he put a bullet in him.
He was stiffer than the Hawks.
Oh my God.
We're going to fancy pulling a 9 to get 21.
We are going to get to your Hawks and Brody's Port Adelaide, but because I'm controlling the buttons, let's listen to a very important piece of play.
Do we have to?
DJ still rolling as Harley Reid gets to work and powering away with a couple of bounces. Harley Reid on full show and unbelievable!
He's special, the kid.
I've never seen anything like it. Not in the first year. I saw Juddy rip apart the Brisbane Lions years ago, but I think that was in his second season. But that is just astonishing.
John.
He has got all the talent. He's got all the physical attributes. And now he has lifted 50,000 plus people.
Mate, he's 19 years old. He's dusting the of Oliver and Track in one play. Even when he doesn't pull it off, you still want to see him doing it. He's kicking goals.
Do you think his 3-bounce goal from the centre clearance is goal of the year worthy?
Absolutely it is. I didn't realise he was so quick.
Yeah.
So much power. When you line it up against, he
speed.
runs away from Petrarca, who's one of the most powerful players.
Mate,
He single-handedly
I
just...
thought Mick McGuan's goal from the centre
Yeah.
was the best. 7 bounces against Carlton all those years ago at the MCG. But I feel as this Harley Reid's as good as, if not better than.
Eagles beat Melbourne.
We were laughing about Eagles maybe going through the season and not winning a game, right?
Jesus.
And this young man has single-handedly just lifted a whole state.
And Dog, why will he stay in WA? For what specific reason?
We get free fruit and veggies.
Free produce. Do we know the company's name?
No, we don't. We've got to find out.
Got to find this company. So and talking about food, while we're on the food thing, well, Dog finds out the produce company. Don't you find it ironic that the only reason that Adam Simpson is still coaching the West Coast Eagles is because he owns a couple of Hungry Jacks franchises. So he wasn't going to leave.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to throw in the keys. He said, no, I've got to stay. I've got a couple of Hungry Jacks franchises I've got to pay for.
Mate,
so that's why he's ultimately the coach, and he'll be the coach to lift them out of the mire and maybe lead them back to glory again.
I do not understand football. We got flogged by Collingwood, like humiliated.
Yes.
We go and beat the D's, and probably we really put a stone in the shoe of their top 4 campaign, man.
Yeah, you did. You put a whole brick in the shoe of it. Not just a stone, but
Is that called the Hardman's?
yeah, something like that.
Fruit shop, or?
I mean, if he's trying to promote him online, he's got a blurry photo.
Wait, so Beck's brought it up. So Harley's actually doing ads for this humble fruit and veg company.
Good on him.
Mate, absolutely.
Just for a tray of fruit and veg once a week. Just to
So
help
that
out.
was
I'm
a
tipping
great
that
win.
price will be going up.
That was a great win. No one expected or saw it coming.
Yeah.
And certainly no one expected or saw Hawthorn being so competitive against Port Adelaide
Oh
yesterday.
my God! First of all, Brody, you're a full nuffy, full Port nuffy. How was your bus fat watching that game?
There was a legitimate bus fat. We were at a family do, and my cousin was bringing her American boyfriend over for the family to meet. And it just so happened to coincide when the Port game was on. So I wasn't
Mason
talking. I
Cox,
wasn't talking to the guy. I couldn't be bothered, particularly when we were losing. But as we started to come back, I got a lot more vocal. And he was sitting there. He's a bit of a timid fella.
Yes.
And he's looking at me there. He goes, "Does everyone do this?" Because I was screaming at the TV. I was throwing things around the room.
Yeah.
And then I said some very nasty expletives at the TV when we won, and told the entire Hawthorn roster to go and suck me off. So that was probably
okay.
it.
Alright.
And then,
Why do we have to go that way?
Why we're in the gutter now. Thanks to Brody. Thanks, Brody.
but yeah, he was not impressed with me. being
Campbell
American.
Brown was calling that game yesterday. And do you want to hear some highlights from his great commentary, by the way, in the ones
Well, he
finally?
normally doesn't. He was in the ones, and not only in the ones on the boundary, he was up in the box.
Yeah.
He was doing specials with Shawnee Burgoyne
Mate,
and the great
aircon.
Brian Taylor.
He gets the aircon and sandwiches. No
Yes.
more bull rain for Dog.
And how good's the media room at Adelaide Oval as well?
Magnificent.
And the sausage rolls at half time. You
I've
may
never
have
been
been
up
doing
there.
your analysis.
Now, what a great commentator.
Yeah.
Let's see how accurate he was.
They're home now, but geez, there were some nervous moments.
Who are you referring to
Home
now?
now,
12 seconds.
Wait, hold on. You got to listen to the whole clip because it's off Insta.
they're home now, but geez, there were some nervous moments.
Say that again.
They're home now.
12 seconds later.
Serious pressure on. Amon's tackled. Second balls. He brings the house down. And he brings Port Adelaide back from the clouds.
Horrible mistake. Still a great night.
I could have got wings beat, couldn't I?
Right.
43 seconds left. Ball on the wing. Oh, they needed 2 goals, and they'd only kicked 2 for the quarter. I thought by going with, I nearly said it 2 minutes earlier, and I waited and I waited. And I thought with 43 seconds left, I could go with that.
I actually, when you said the comment, I actually looked at the clock though. I sort of looked at it and I thought, no, he's spot on.
Yeah.
Because it piqued my attention that, he's gone off early. But then my old coach, Lee Matthews, always used to say to us, if you're up by more goals than there is minutes left on the clock, you're home.
It's a good theory, Lethal.
It's a great theory.
They
It
needed
stands the
perfection.
test of time.
They needed perfection.
Dog, everything went their way with that 30 seconds to go.
Well, the long kick in, the free kick to Rioli, which was absolutely there, but because it was spoiled away, umpire correctly blew time off. If the clock continues to run down, right? So he gets the ball in hand. He obviously knew there wasn't long on the clock. He's got to go back from 51, kick it quick without a proper set routine.
Bang.
Bang, right? So 33 seconds down to 21. He did it in 11 seconds. Great work by Willie Rioli. Goes back to the middle, right? They need to win the centre clearance. If there's a secondary stoppage or Hawthorn slap it forward, it's game over. High ball in. They need to take a mark.
Yes.
Which they didn't do. 8, 7.
Get it out.
6. It goes into the hands of a Hawthorn player, right? So you're like, beautiful, done. Handball to aim on. Brilliant tackle by McKenty.
Yeah, it was great.
Ball needs to spill somewhere in the vicinity of a Port player. He doesn't have time to pick it up and kick a goal. He's got to sock it off the ground.
Bang!
It's good awareness by Darcy Burst Jones.
Perm Jones, we call him.
Perm
3
Jones.
perms for the big fella. Yeah. And there was 1 second left on the clock when they went back to the middle. And honestly, Adelaide Oval, the Port crowd went ballistic. We've seen goals after the siren. You know, Dan Houston did it last year against Essendon. Jamie Elliott's done it. I can't ever remember 2 goals in the last 33 seconds of a game.
The miracle on grass. It reminds me of that. It just has to be perfect.
I can't
41
believe,
points
with
down.
Port Adelaide supporters there too, I can't believe there wasn't looting and cars burning in the car park and
What a
all
game.
these sorts of things.
Unbelievable. Also, you got to feel a bit. By the way, we're going to acknowledge Essendon. They're second on the ladder. No one thought this was going to happen. Everyone thought there was going to be a drop off.
Yeah.
They're second on the ladder.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great. I love when big clubs are going well. So they beat North Melbourne, Dino. But
Yeah, who cares?
Jake Stringer's on the couch tonight, so I look forward to that. He'll
The
be
casting
great.
couch.
The casting couch.
Also,
Apparently, as Jake Stringer, he's had a few changes in life. I think he turned to Islam.
He has.
Yeah.
found Zen.
The Quran.
The Quran,
He follows
yeah.
the Quran.
So it'd be interesting to talk to him about that tonight. And he's obviously played some really good football, but the Essendon Footy Club's on fire. My man, Walter Scott, he's got him flying. Brad Walter Scott.
Why, Walter?
It's his middle name.
Right
Yeah,
on, Brad Walter
doesn't
name.
Right
not
on.
many times you get Walter as a second. What's your
Not at
second
all.
name?
McGregor.
Really?
McGregor.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Campbell McGregor.
That's nice.
But
James.
McGregor's not a first name, though. Is it?
Nah. It's
Well,
not.
isn't your middle name supposed to
I
be
know
a first name?
some people are called Mac, but like McGregor, maybe that's short for McGregor.
But isn't your middle name supposed to be a first name, not a surname? Because McGregor's a surname.
Yeah, well, I'm Scottish, named after the great Rob Roy McGregor, the outlaw from over in Scotland, who took on the
Oh,
English.
yeah, you are an outlaw.
You know,
John, are you Brian?
live to-
Jonathan Brian
I'm
Brown.
Brian.
I'm Haberdashery. Beck, what's your middle name? Find your mic.
Find my mic. Wing Yan.
Right on.
What's that? Yeah, right. Win Yang.
Broads?
Paul. Strong.
Basic.
Strong.
Paul.
Basic bitch.
I'm Paul.
At no stage did I think in that 43 seconds of commentary when it came out of my mouth,
Oh, brother.
did I think I would have my very own Bill Collins moment. Kingston Town can't win.
Yes, I
and
know,
I have.
that's legendary.
It's
Did you
come
know
back
that?
to bite me on the
Dino?
arse.
The most legendary race call of all time was, I think it was 1983.
Cox Plate,
It was Cox Plate. Kingston Town won 3 Cox Plates.
Yep.
And Bill Collins, probably the most famous race caller of all time in this country.
Yep.
He said, Kingston Town can't win.
Yep.
And because Kingston Town was a mile back, and he was everyone's favourite racehorse. There would have
Can't
been
win.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, would have been punted on him. He said, can't win. He stormed home, one of the greatest Cox Plate victories of all time, just to show the heart of that horse. Really? So you've had your Bill Collins moment, Brown Dog. You're in rare company.
It happens when you least expect it.
Hey, I don't mind what Sam Mitchell's doing with Hawthorn, though. Now, did they go into their shell too early? Why did Hardwick go back? Hardwick kicked 5. He looks like Jason Dunstall when he walks onto the Adelaide Oval.
Because they subbed in Bruce, who was going to play that forward, and so they threw Hardwick back, who was playing on Horn Francis when he came out of the goal square. I thought that move was good. They did go into their shells. Sam Mitchell's come out in the press conference and said, well, that wasn't our instructions. But Zach Butters had 18 touches in the last quarter.
Really?
He was unbelievable. And they just had so many inside 50s, and Hawks naturally were just holding on for dear life, playing to the clock a little bit, and they lost all chain of possession. They were just hacking it out as far as they could, no forward structure, and it was just coming back and coming back. I still thought they'd done enough to win. I think any criticism of Sam Mitchell and his coaching is completely unfair.
Poor bugger.
I think that, sometimes these are the best coaching tools because they're not going to play finals or, they're not going to contend as a top 4 team. So this is an educational experience. So you look at what Collingwood does late in games. They're the masters, but they've trained it for years now. Whereas Hawthorn are just starting to learn about that, what to do in late game scenarios. Yep. So in actual fact, and much as Mitch is not going to publicly admit it, he's going to go, he's thinking internally, this is a great teaching tool. I can sit down with my boys and say, look, this is how we go late in games, and this is how we try and control the clock, but still stay engaged, try and keep momentum. So,
if you're a Hawthorn
supporter, if you're a Hawthorn supporter, I wouldn't lose hope.
You don't get the reward for effort, and they deserve to win that. So it'd be great to go into the rooms and say, hey, boys, if we bring this level of intensity, effort, tackle pressure, we can beat any side. But I guarantee you that playing group will learn a hell of a lot more going forward from the loss they had than had they held on and won.
Right on. Hey, people that listen to this podcast know that we're the number 1 spasmodic sports podcast in the world. We love that word. You say it on commentary. Dog, have you dropped it yet?
I haven't dropped it yet, but there was a lot of people as I walked the boundary yelling at WTB.
Yeah, really? Old school.
We've got a lot of followers in our
secret society.
Let's go up to Brisbane on SENQ. My mate Dan Anstey found this, and there's a guy called Jack Fulham on SENQ, one of the great...
Part of the family,
part of the stable. Let's have a listen to Jack's efforts.
It's Tyler Young, in fact. Hit the arm of Danaher. Put him down, didn't he? Danaher, he's been spasmodic in front of goal.
Come on! It's a fine word.
Yeah.
And it's catching on.
Should be used more.
And strong. I like when the first half of spasmodic is emphasised, like
modic. Yeah, absolutely. It's
Jai Amos was spasmodic in front of goals.
I've got to stop touching this microphone.
You stop touching the
funny noise.
So were the
Thank you,
Western
Campbell.
Bulldogs.
Some strong feedback.
Hey, up in Queensland, though, the mighty Brisbane Lions, how good was it to see here Johnny Denver? Don't you think they've extended out John Denver's country road? When Charlie Cameron kicks a goal, which I think he kicked 5 or 6 the other night. I was on fire. Mate, you find now John Denver's still going. They're a minute into the play after the centre bounce. They just keep going. They've just given up. They're a ground announcer up at the Gabba, and they're just having a good time. So it was great to see the Lions back in form.
They're in a bad way, the Tigers.
Stories about the Tigers.
Let's go to the Tigers. And by the way, your team is still a fair way back, mate. Jesus, you still got a lot of work to do.
Well, thank you, Dino.
Let's go to the Tigers. Beck, you're the only Tigers fan in this room. And what did your father say about the current state of things?
Well, he said he'll never see a flag in his lifetime ever again. So
well, he's 85, so he's had a good run.
I bought in the wooden spoon as well.
Oh, that's nice of you, mate. How cooked are they? Exactly.
Cooked. And one of the reasons they're cooked is we saw this a few years ago when Gold Coast and GWS came in, and I was a part of a team that was trying to rebuild at the time. If you're trying to rebuild at the same time as an expansion team is coming in, it makes your build longer and slower. And obviously, Richmond haven't even started the rebuild. They've still got 10 players at the end of the year will be 30 plus. 10. So they've got to shed a lot of premiership veterans. But Lee Matthews summed it up well the other day. The reason you stop becoming a dynasty team, stop being a dynasty, because these champion players, they all get old. And they drop off together, and you can't replace them with another batch of champion players.
Well, then how did Geelong stay relevant forever? Well, how do they do it?
They had Stephen Wells, who's one of the greatest recruiters, if not the greatest recruiter the AFL has ever seen.
How much would he get paid, that guy?
Well, he would
not
be.
Enough.
Well, not enough. They're worth their weight in gold. I think they've had definitely advantages. Not blind, they've got a great culture down there. Definitely advantages. Cost of living down there. It is cheap to live down there.
Fruit and veg.
Fruit and veg. They've set up a great program where the veterans don't have to be at the club nowhere near as much. People love living down the beach, or you can live down on the farm down there. So they have got some advantages. They've been able to stay relevant. But the other dynasty teams, Hawthorn and Brisbane. Now Richmond will drop down to the bottom of the ladder, which is what the AFL wants. That's the way the system's designed. But like Brisbane Lions, it's going to be a slow rebuild for the Tigers because Tasmania will be taking all the talent in a couple of years' time when the Tigers really genuinely do start their rebuild. That's the problem.
Yeah, and look, the AFL is designed for sides not to have dynasty teams. And they theoretically want,
18 winners.
18 premiership, different premiership sides in 18 years. So the fact that Sydney and Geelong have been able to remain relevant in the top 8 and contending for grand finals and premierships is extraordinary.
Yeah.
But Richmond, they lose by 119 points to Brisbane, who are a good side. They're last year's grand finalists, but that's a touch-up. The next day, their VFL side comes out, right? They lose by 110 points to Sandringham, who are no world beaters.
Woof.
They lose Sam Naismith to an ACL, another injury to go with a heap of other injuries. Their young kids coming through, Steely Green and Matty Coulthard and Tyler Sonsi, Tyler Young, Ryan Mansell. They're solid. They're building and learning their AFL careers, but none of them are superstars. Like your Harley Reeds, coming through, and some of your good players from North. So they're in a really tough spot.
I feel sorry for Adam Uze. Now, no, don't feel sorry for a coach, I guess, who is chasing his dream job. Rebuild coaches never survive.
Ever.
Can you name the last rebuild coach that survived to get through? Now, Adam Simpson may do that, but he obviously started a long way back and he had premiership success. But you are generally coming in as a first-time coach. They don't survive because they have to do all the dirty work, all the hard work, and it just takes so much time. If you actually look at the recent ones, like Brendan Bolton, Carlton, he was gone. He was the rebuild coach there. The Melbourne coaches, Dean Bailey was there. Paul Roos a little bit of a different situation because that was a handover.
St Kilda coaches?
Yeah, well, they haven't really been to the top lately, have they? So it's hard to see those rebuild coaches. Maybe Damien Hardwick, you could argue. Because when he took over...
But he was this close to getting the
He was nearly gone, wasn't he?
Yep, he was.
That's right, you forget that.
So they've shown a history of patience with their coaches, no doubt about it, the Richmond Football Club. But they're going to need a hell of a lot of patience with Adam Uze and that team.
If you're an Adelaide fan, you'd feel a bit... You'd have, I don't know, they're not that bad.
No. Well, you actually look at, if you stack them up against their opponent of the weekend, Collingwood, think of all the close games that Collingwood have won and we celebrate and laud them for. Adelaide have lost nearly as many close games as Collingwood.
They're
have
on
won.
the wrong side of the result every single time.
And against Collingwood, they've lost the last 4 games by less than 2 goals.
Yeah, they've competed hard. The goal from Ranker was unbelievable, bit of individual brilliance. But he did run too far. He did.
24 metres.
To the letter of, it's far too far.
But they never call that, let's be honest.
Well, you need to judge the rule. Graham Corns has come out and said if it was Nick or Josh Dacos, they wouldn't have called him for running too far. A little bit of maybe South Australia bias there. If it's too far, it's too far. On the day live, I was watching it at the airport. I didn't think it was too far.
No, initially I didn't think it was. Then I watched the replay and I go, oh, no, actually, now I can understand it. But it was that second time, the last one trying to get around the man and get inside.
He bounced it too early.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? If he'd have taken another 5 metres and bounced it for the first time, he wouldn't have run too far.
What is that? I hate that when my under-15 girls, they come out of a pack and they bounce after 2 metres.
Nick Watson did it yesterday. He bounced the ball within 3 steps and it put himself under pressure because you're taking your eyes off the field down to the grass level to get the ball back. You're missing targets.
Is Nick Watson as short as Caleb Daniel or shorter?
Oh, he's short. But I love his energy, mate. His energy is... He goes too fast.
Yeah, he does.
He goes too fast to be composed.
Like an excited dog.
Yeah.
Hey, but speaking of bouncing, Harley Reid almost kicks goal of the year, and he took 3 in quick succession. Yep. It's like a comfort thing for him.
Do you know he's leading the league in broken tackles?
Oh, Jesus.
Comfortably.
Wow.
Yeah, which normally, that's Petrarca territory, that's Dustin Martin territory, not our first year.
Dusty like.
What do you bench press?
200.
Dude, he'd have, mate.
Probably.
You love him. He's a phenomenon.
Mate. What were you going to say, Bruce?
The smallest players in the AFL. Would you like to know who they are?
Yeah.
Nick Watson, the Wizard, is at 170 centimetres. Wow. Caleb Daniel is at 171. And Cozzy Pickett is also 171. And Brent Daniels at 172.
Is that right? See, I'm only 177 centimetres. I'm only 5 or 6 centimetres.
You played taller, though.
I did.
I'm taller than Cozzy Pickett. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
He moves a bit better than you, though, Bullshit.
Hey, real quickly, St Kilda before we go to the ads. Oh boy. Well, any thoughts? Any hope for the fans?
Okay.
Something positive?
Everyone spoke about Ben King coming down to St Kilda. Do you reckon Max King would prefer it to be up on the Gold Coast?
Man.
With his brother? Never thought it would be the other way around, did you?
Grim, after that start
they
of the
can't
year
score. They just can't score. Their last few weeks they've kicked 7-11 and 8-7. And their ball movement is just like treacle. Jesus,
Treacle.
slow.
Welcome,
Yeah.
Treacle, to the podcast. Great word, brother.
Slower than treacle.
Isn't that a delicious dessert?
Why is it treacle? And what does it specifically mean?
Don't ask me those sort of questions. But treacle is slow. No, you're thinking about truffle, mate.
Maybe, yeah. I am quite hungry.
But I was so confused when you threw that in, Dino.
All right, we're going to the ads, but let's listen to some great commentary just one more time.
They're home now, but geez, there were some nervous moments.
Say that again.
They're home now.
12 seconds later.
Serious pressure on. Amon's tackled. Second ball. He brings.
Steve Harvey, take it away.
Horrible mistake. Still a great night.
Back in a second. Welcome back to Brownies Podcast, at Brownies Podcast, Instagram, TikTok, and all that stuff. Some wild stuff in other sport, man.
We always talk about preparation and how you need to be mentally and physically prepared before you go out there and play any sport, let alone something as intricate as a game of golf, where if you're just slightly off mentally, you can completely disintegrate.
Yes.
Poor old Scotty Scheffler, just on his way in to have a round of golf.
At Valhalla, at Louisville. You were in Louisville last week.
Yeah, but
did you run in any strife for the Coppers? Did you find they were a bit strong-armed?
You never mess around with the American Coppers.
They'll drop you. They'll put hot lead in your thigh.
You don't argue with them.
Well, remember we thought they had about 5 machine guns pulled on a guy at the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Remember the next day when we thought they were going to shoot that guy?
John, would 4 machine guns have been
Venice
enough?
Beach?
You
Probably
think?
enough.
Yeah.
I would have thought one.
It was some great vision. I saw it from TMZ. They were there. They were all over it, filming him as he was getting walked into a divvy van. Arrested.
What happened?
JB?
Well, so unfortunately, there's obviously lineups going into the golf course, and someone was actually killed. One of the vendors. I don't know what a vendor is, but it was obviously either one of the attendants or supervisors. When you go into sporting events and they're marshalling, well, one of the buses bringing the patrons in has clipped this person and they died. So obviously there's a big police presence there. So there's some coppers and security letting credentialed people in, like the golfers and people that are helping the golfers. And then there's the other coppers there investigating what the hell's happened with this fatality. So they're all there. Now, there's obviously a massive traffic jam at 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, Scotty Scheffler is there, but he's got all the credentials. So there's confusion as to whether he was waved in or not.
Right.
Well, so one of the coppers investigating the incident has seen this car, Scotty Scheffler's car, drive around the traffic jam that had stopped.
Right.
And they started banging on the door and then apparently was dragged for 10 metres and there's no security footage of that. So
Made that up.
The copper might have just made that up. And then he's tapped and then dragged Scotty, who got out of the car, and then threw him up against the car and arrested him, put the handcuffs on him behind his back and led him straight to the cop car.
Overreaction.
Not in a sexy way like in Days of Thunder.
No,
like
that's
a
right.
serious way.
Oh, how good's that scene?
Yeah, really good, really good.
Do you remember that scene, Days of Thunder?
Man, that's...
I used to rewind that a lot as a young man.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
I've got the
always wanted to get pulled over like
You remember
that.
I was falsely arrested up on the Gold Coast after the Magic Millions. You remember that?
Yeah, yes.
I understand exactly what Scotty Scheffler's gone through. I don't think he would have done too much wrong. Copper, big ego.
Yeah.
Listen to my instructions. Hey, I said stop, right? Gets his ego in the way. He's like, I'm going to arrest this guy. Opens the door, puts him up against the wall or the car, and then would have no idea it's Scotty Scheffler in the moment.
Yeah.
And then all the cameras, the publicity around it, he goes, oh,
But now I've got to carry on.
I probably overreacted there, and I probably need to write in the report. He dragged me 10 metres, right? Just like they said that I was like trying to re-enter a licensed premise and I was obstructing justice and made up all these bogus bullshit claims, mate. You just got to fight them and beat them.
And then
Scotty will do that.
Well, one of the charges, you had 4 charges, 3 of them for traffic, but the other one was second-degree felony charge of assault of a police officer.
Sounds bad, right?
It sounds
like he got out of the
real
car and wanted to punch on.
Well, it holds 10 years, a maximum prison sentence.
Well, the cop made a statement, actually.
Horrible mistake. Still a great night.
How he came out and shot about 5 under later that afternoon.
So he got to the
phenomenal.
He got to the station, and so obviously all the some of the coppers, when he got to the station, they're going, what the hell's Scotty Scheffler doing here? So you can imagine the copper the rest here. Imagine the copper from his colleagues.
Oh, man.
Anyway, Scotty Scheffler was in the cell, and he got one of the policemen to come and sit with him to help him calm his heart rate down because he was obviously feeling overwhelmed. And then after an amount of time, he thinks, I might be still a chance I have to play. So he started warming up in the jail cell.
I don't want to miss my tea time.
So they moved the tea time back for everyone by 2 hours.
Amazing.
Just doing some back stretches.
Also,
loosening
John,
himself
I noticed
up.
he teed off with a teardrap tattoo as well. So it's pretty rough, man.
Well, he was very good, Dino. It was astonishing. But this is not I went back to have a look, and I thought, has this ever happened before where the night of, or night before, or day of, sports stars have been arrested before or during an event? And it actually has happened.
Really?
So, you actually look back. I'll take you back to 1933.
1933.
One of Al Capone's henchmen.
Yes.
His name was Jack McGurn.
Oh, yeah?
He turned up in the Chicago Open in golf. Now, he was a mobster, but he was also pretty handy at the golf course. So he played under an assumed name. The problem was, though, he shot too well in the first round, and he was leading. He was in front on the leaderboard. Well, the authorities got wind of this, so they've turned up the next day on the 7th hole.
What?
He's 1 under, still leading the tournament, and they've arrested him on the golf course.
On the course,
Yeah, because at that time there'd been a law passed by Chicago law to treat individuals associated with crime as vagrants.
Wow.
And hence his association with Al Capone, the great gangster.
Wow.
So that was that one. But I think this one, in modern days,
Yeah.
this one actually takes the cake.
All right, modern days. What country are we talking?
No, we're talking America, and
All
we're
right.
talking the Super Bowl. A man named the 1999 Super Bowl. Atlanta Falcons, he played for, against the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos were going for 2 in a row. This man, Eugene Robinson, who was a cornerback, so like a deep defender, one of the quick defenders. for
Eugene.
Atlanta. Eugene Robinson. That day, so this is the day before the Super Bowl. His family's all there. His family's there because he collects the award for the Walter Payton, the Bart Starr Man of the Year Award. So it's the best Man of the Year, for a man that gives to charity and gives to public causes and all these sort of things.
Yep.
It's the most honourable thing you can win in the NFL. So all his family are there to collect the award. What does Eugene Robinson do that night to celebrate? He drops his family back at the hotel.
Yep.
Instead of going back to his hotel and just getting ready for the Super Bowl, he goes out and decides to solicit a prostitute. Unfortunately, though, he solicits the wrong prostitute. It's an undercover officer.
Oh, no.
Offered
Of all the nights to do that.
Offered $40 for a little bit of extra, if you know what I mean.
Some Days of Thunder.
We call it a bit
Days
of Hugh Grant.
And a bit of Hugh Grant, and was taken to the lockup.
Unbelievable.
He had to do his warm-ups in the lockup like Scotty Scheffler.
What a fool. He's just been
dog.
respected in front of the whole community.
And he wants
He's
to
still
celebrate.
giving back to the
He
community.
wants to celebrate, blow off some steam.
Can you believe
Blow
now,
off some steam.
now, I know the next thing you're going to ask me, did it affect his performance and all that? Well, we went to Eugene and asked him this, and Eugene said that the impact of the arrest did not affect his performance, although he said he was unable to sleep on Saturday night because he was in a jail cell, which is understandable. However, when it came to the game, quote, I was extremely focused today. It didn't affect my play because it was pretty much therapeutic getting out there and playing. You know what happened in the first play of the game? The opposition quarterback, John Elway, threw it 80-yard pass to the bloke he was playing on for a touchdown. And they got smashed in the Super Bowl.
Eugene.
So, Eugene. It wasn't therapeutic at all.
The heavyweight fight was over the weekend. The
I
Gypsy
watched
King.
that.
Yeah.
He got beaten.
It was pretty wild to see. It was old school boxing, like entertainment. He looked like a madman. His legs were going, but he stayed up.
Mate, it was unbelievable effort. I can't believe the ref didn't stop it. It was because of the heavyweight. The first unified heavyweight champion, Usyk, from Ukraine since 1999, since Lennox Lewis beat Evander Holyfield all those years ago. And it was a great fight in the end, but he looked like he was clean Tyson Fury up, but he hung in there and got through and ended up a split decision, but Usyk deserved it.
They can't walk away, boxers, can they?
No.
You got Mike Tyson fighting
The
soon.
YouTube kid.
But the Saudi money, though. Imagine how much money they'd be getting paid. It was in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, but they just can't walk away. They're all well past it.
Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. I'm going to watch it. I don't like the event it's become, but you can't not watch that, right?
Yeah, well, that's the modern day, isn't it? Like the YouTubers love it. There's just that interest around it. They don't care if it's for a belt or not.
Why?
I may have an opportunity, boys. I can't reveal it on air yet.
Don't do it, John.
Take us over.
Who are you fighting?
I could be going for a big interview.
What?
Next in a couple of weeks' time.
When you say you could be going for it, you're going to leave this country and fly somewhere for it?
A global superstar.
What are you talking
or are you
about?
travelling?
Could be travelling. The biggest global superstar in combat sports.
Combat sports. Okay.
Conor McGregor.
Kimbo Slice.
Conor McGregor, who's fighting in about 5 weeks or 6 weeks.
McGregor?
It'd be Conor McGregor.
I can't say anything.
Why
You might
would
need
you
to
do
take
that?
I've had to sign a non-disclosure form.
Oh,
A bit like my family's agreement in future.
I'd like to go on that trip.
Yeah, can we get like a travel sponsor and come with you, man? We're like your companion dogs.
Well, we've just hit up Tripadil, so let's see. Well, Tripadil's got to mention the podcast now, so they've got to commit.
Can you say that, like, medically you need me, your companion dog?
Oh, yes. I like Jardine's Lookout. Remember that? The Melbourne Cup horse who brought out a pony. Remember Henry the pony? He had to go everywhere with him.
that little tiny horse.
And Jardine's Lookout ran dead last. So I might leave you at home, Dino.
Why does it say on the run sheet, North debutante with a hickey? Is this for real?
It can't be real.
What?
There's no way on earth.
Obviously, there's a number of debutants at the moment, and they're traditionally younger of age. They're and they're kids, mate. They're teenagers, so they're 18, they're 19. Anyway, congratulations to North Melbourne's Will Dawson, who made his debut on the weekend.
Well done,
Congrats.
Will.
But prior to debuting, North Melbourne just wanted to do a bit of a piece to camera just to kind of introduce him to the fan base. And unfortunately for Will, the video's been shot and he's got a dirty great big hickey on that.
It's a birthmark.
That is
not a birthmark.
It's a scratch from training.
No way.
That's a grade 5 hickey.
Absolutely. I remember getting one of those in grade 6 at the disco at Floreat Primary School, Dino.
My
Do you reckon
God.
he goes home and says to his girlfriend, "Hey, I'm debuting this weekend," and
Celebratory
in
hickey.
the lust of passion, the hickey.
Hickeys are weird, eh?
How good is that?
Hickeys are weird.
That's a moment he'll never, ever live down or forget for the remainder of
Why
his
wouldn't
life.
you just touch it up with a little bit of foundation?
Correct, yeah.
You know, like you're on the national stage.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's very good.
But no, congrats to Will on 2 fronts.
Where's the applause?
But
There it is. And some porno music, which was an accident, but quite fitting.
Ashley Madison. Hey, there's
I've been told to watch that tonight.
The Ashley Madison.
My wife said it was very good.
Is it?
I thought, geez, you're getting some ideas, Carls.
Netflix.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Apparently really
gripping.
easy to
It's about
consume.
the data breach, and anyone that was in their books got exposed greatly. But John, obviously we should watch it. It's apparently really good. But it's made us think of the song, the Ashley Madison song. Have you heard this though?
Nah, I haven't heard it.
They were running with this ad before everything went to hell for Ashley Madison. Listen to this jaunty jingle. Beck, have you put some cans on? This is absurd. 3, 2, 1.
I'm looking for someone other than my wife. Other than my wife. Ashley Madison's right. I'm looking for someone.
A few more voices. There's a few more voices coming in.
Other than my wife.
It's quite catchy.
And all of a sudden, get everyone in. Here we go.
I'm looking for someone other than my wife.
Other than my wife.
Ashley Madison's right.
That is absurd. Beck,
It's
your
astonishing.
thoughts?
Can that be the theme song?
It's a little bit of a banger, like, I'm not gonna lie.
It is a banger.
Yeah.
How good's that? It wouldn't have been a banger, though, when you heard that Ashley Madison had been hacked.
Ads, back in a second. Welcome back to Brownie's Podcast, at Brownie's Podcast on TikTok and Instagram. We have been trying to get Naki on the phone.
We'll get him.
But, you know, he's traveling around the world. It's the blackjack guy has called it quits after a run of 90 hands. His floor was $500,000, and he got to that.
Yeah, so now we're talking to him when he's in a complete failure, which will be good just to pick himself up off the ground. Hey, just before we go, we get to Dogs Water Well to finish this off. Shout out to Ross Thornton's family. Ross Thornton, great Fitzroy player. He was the best and fairest in 1984. Had his memorial yesterday at the MCG. He was on the Brisbane Lions board still currently for the last 10 years. A really solid hand. He was a teammate of Dad's at Fitzroy. Fantastic player. And got to the MCG yesterday to celebrate his life. Some great speeches. Saw some legends there, including the Superboot, Bernie Quinlan. He won the 1981 Brownlow medal, I think.
Stunning.
Superboot used to kick him from about 70. Just for an easy Sunday out of the park. So great to see those, and a shout out to Roscoe's family. He was a great man. Vale.
Well said, JB. Now for What a World. Now we're going all the way over to Bulgaria here for this What a World. A little town called Plovdiv.
Plovdiv.
Now, a curious error during the local election led to the oldest cat in the community, Sir Whiskers, being officially declared the new mayor. The mix-up began when a group of local teenagers, jokingly taking the piss, added Sir Whiskers' name to the online ballot as a write-in candidate. Now, the prank caught on, and the town's residents, amused and perhaps a little bit enchanted by the idea, overwhelmingly voted for the feline candidate to win the election. The next day, when officials realised, they were obviously stunned that Sir Whiskers, the cat, had won the race in a landslide.
Gary Hocking.
Outpacing several human candidates. The town quickly convened to address the legality of the cat holding office, and to everyone's surprise, they found no specific rule in the town's charter against a non-human mayor. So right now, in Plovdiv, Bulgaria, Sir Whiskers is the man. What a world!
Dog, that reminds me of the film Air Bud when the dog plays the basketball game and the ref's like, there's nothing in the rule book.
I put so much effort into that What a World after last week's debacle. I hope I improved it.
Diabolical. All right, degenerates, enjoy your week. We'll talk to you on Friday. Hopefully we'll have Tim Nacky. Have a great week.